The idea here is that you have x terms and you have terms that aren't x terms. This one has x, and so does that, but the other two don't. What you should do is get the x terms on one side and the other terms on the other side. Now, you could do it in any way. For example, you could move this to the right, but since it's already positive where it is, I'll move this to the left and just I'll line it up over here. So then this is here minus the x log 3. And you could actually move the 3 log 5 at the same time that you're moving the x log 3, but I'll just do it in a second step, just so it's easier to follow the steps. And now here we'll go ahead and move this to the other side so that only the x terms are on this side. Here, now that we only have x terms on the left side, what you want to do is factor out the x. So you factor out the x, all the blue parts will go inside parentheses now, everything that couldn't get factored out. In fact, even if you can factor other things out, you'd still only want to factor x, because the goal is to solve just for x. And now this part in the parentheses is multiplying with the x. But to get x by itself, you have to divide both sides by this part.
Okay.
And you do it to both sides. At this point, we don't need to have parentheses for the denominator anymore. So we can just take that out of parentheses like this. If you had to give a decimal approximation, you'd want to put all the arguments in parentheses. So this 3 would go in parentheses, the 5, this 5, and this 3. But as an exact answer, this is one form of the exact answer. You might not have to give a decimal approximation.
Alright.
For this one, do you have any questions about anything?
More so the factoring part.
This part here?
Yeah.
Alright, so what you're doing with the factoring is you're just seeing what do these terms have in common. Whatever they have in common is what you factor out. You're just going to take that common part out and put it outside a set of parentheses like this. This is a specific thing. We're only factoring x because there might have been other things, like what if there was also a 2 here? You wouldn't want to factor the 2 because then you'd have to undo that eventually. So for this kind of question, you're just specifically looking for x to factor out. You're only taking the x out from both of these, and so that will go out here. And all the blue parts go inside the parentheses. They aren't getting factored out, so they just stay on the inside.
Okay.
And the only reason you have to do that is because this lets you move all of these parts away to the right side, and you can keep the x by itself on the left. And the goal is just to keep x on one side so you can find out what that number is for x, what the value is.
Okay.